Good morning. It is Thursday, October 15th. We are just about to start a new moon here in Libra, and so can feel the energy of that dark side of the moon. I want to, the next day or so, set intentions. I like to do that. I think the moon is a great way, a nice monthly cycle to revisit those kind of things. So here we are. I was having a conversation with a good friend of mine yesterday about this journaling practice. And I shared with him that, I upload these videos on YouTube. And I shared with him that they're not live and they're not published. And he asked me why. This friend asks good questions quite often. And I've explored this in earlier entries. I know, part of it is this is a clearing for me. This is where I let it all hang out. I mean, I'm in my bathrobe, for Christ's sake. So it's a clearing. It's a way for me to clear out anything that feels like it's in my way of being in my fullest expression for the day before I jump into my day. And then I got to thinking that even the stuff that I'm clearing, the dirty laundry that I'm airing, who's to say that that's not me too? And that's not my full truthful expression as well. Why does that get hidden? Why don't I share that? And at the end of the day, it's not like I think I have 10 subscribers to my channel. It's like my family. And it's not like I'm Anne Frank sharing the turmoils of my experience amidst a really horrible life historic event. Although one could argue that the coronavirus pandemic is a unique time for sure. So if you're watching this means I decided to take my videos live. I did publish them yesterday. It's not to say I won't undo it at some point. I think some of the worry comes in that, this channel is associated with my business and I don't want to look bad with these half-baked ideas that I just talk about, airing what's going on in my life. But it's also important to me to share my humanness with the world and to become more aware of how I talk to myself. And I do think that having these videos has been more helpful in that way. I mean, when I journaled, when I wrote down my thoughts, I started to become aware of how critical I was of myself just through my writing. And, I've gotten to a point where I write and I can write about anything goes. No judgment. I just let it out. Again, because I assume no one will read it. But when I do these videos and I watch them back, it feels more like I'm talking to a friend. And I get to see more objectively how this friend talks to herself, and to bring more awareness and curiosity around that. self-compassion is something that I desperately want to cultivate. Because I understand at a conceptual level that we can do no wrong in this life. There's this monk, I can never say his name right. It's Chogam Trungpa Rinpoche, something like that. I'm so sorry. But he says something along the lines of, life is like falling through the air, desperately trying to grab on for something. But the good news is there is no ground. So I think the message I take away from that is, life's kind of like a roller coaster, just this free fall feeling. Your stomach goes up into your throat. You can remember that everything has a greater purpose and you can't really make a mistake in this life. And you can let your hands off the bars. Enjoy the ride a little more. That's what I want. That's what I mean by having more compassion. Letting myself be exactly who I want. Fuck people pleasing. Because, Lord, I spend a lot of my energy doing that. And the truth, at least from my point of view, is that even if my thoughts are half-baked, not packaged and finished perfectly, because what does that look like anyway? Even if they're not up to my very high standard, that doesn't mean that I still can't offer something to the world. Even if that's just myself watching these later. So, making these videos published or live is an effort for me to observe how I'm talking to myself, share what I can that might impact someone out there who can relate. Because I know we're all tapped into the collective. We're all experiencing what each other experiences on some cellular level. And to build trust in myself. By building compassion, I start to learn that. And trust in, when I say myself, I really mean trust in life. That I can, throw shit at the wall, so to speak, and I'm not going to die as a result. It's going to be okay. This is all just a fun game we get to play. It doesn't have to be so damn serious all the time. There's another thing I've learned just in watching myself speak is just the mental gymnastics and backflips that I perform all of the time. Nothing wrong with that. I have a powerful brain designed to solve puzzles and chew on things. And there's energy I want to spend doing other things too. So my hope is by looking at the patterns about what I talk about here, how I talk about them, I guess, that I can evolve as a person, that I can embrace how perfect I already am. I read a quote today from Mark Nepo's Book of Awakening. This is one of my favorites. It says, "Wisdom tells me I am nothing. Love tells me I am everything. And between the two, my life flows." And his name, the author of this quote is Nisargadatta Maharaj. And so, wisdom tells me I'm nothing. That's a powerful statement, because I think some of my fear comes, I'm sure a lot of my fear comes from thinking I need to be something special, that I need to portray an air of superiority, that I have all this shit figured out, which, by the way, none of us do. So bringing that wisdom brings humility and humbleness, which I could use a dose of every day. I think it would take the pressure off quite a bit. And then the other part, love tells me I am everything. On a fundamental level, we're everything. When I look at you, when I look in your eyes, I see myself. When I'm feeling fully present and I look into someone else's eyes, have you ever done that? Just stared into someone's eyes for at least at first an uncomfortable amount of time? It's interesting, you settle into it. You almost feel like you're reading their mind. And then at some point, it feels like you're looking at yourself, and it is one of the most profound things, one of my favorite things to do and experience. It feels like true connection. It feels like what I crave on a moment-by-moment basis. And between the two, wisdom and love, my life flows. So there's always going to be the ebbs and the flows. Remembering our humility and remembering just how great we are. Great doesn't even encompass it. How we are everything. Nothing left out. The shadow, the light, it's all one. And that is this oneness, this unity is a topic that books upon books upon books have been written about, and I can barely scratch the surface of in my journal entry, but it's a powerful, reaffirming, reassuring, comforting thing that when I remember it and when I embody it, there's no greater peace. So if you're here and you're watching, thanks for listening. See you next time.